February 28, 2026. Central Tehran. 9:40 a.m. The morning call to prayer was still hanging in the air, when the sky above the Supreme Leader's compound silently split open. No thunder. No warning sirens. Just a deadly surgical hush, then fire. Inside that heavily guarded compound, 86-year-old Ayatollah Ali Khamenei sat at the head of the table. For 37 years he had ruled Iran with absolute power. Maps were spread out. Top commanders leaned in close. The room smelled of strong tea and decades of defiance. His eyes narrowed as he listened to the latest intelligence report. He never finished the sentence. In just 60 seconds, the world changed forever. But here's what no one expected: killing the Supreme Leader didn't end the regime. It unleashed something far more dangerous. What really happens when you cut off the head of a revolution that's been preparing for this exact moment for decades? To understand how we got here, we have to go back, because this strike wasn't sudden. It was inevitable. Before we continue, don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and remember to turn on your notification bell so you will be notified when we drop videos. Let's continue. 2015, the world celebrated the JCPOA nuclear deal, believing Iran's ambitions were frozen. Then in 2018, President Donald Trump ripped America out of the agreement. Iran's response? They didn't slow down. They sped up. Uranium enrichment, ballistic missiles, and a deadly network of proxies stretching across the region. By late 2025, the shadow war had turned ice-cold and deadly. Secret Israeli strikes in Syria. Cyber attacks that crippled cities. Scientists disappearing in the night. Yet Khamenei remained untouched. The man who had outlasted Reagan, both Bush's, Clinton, Obama, and Trump's first term, believed time itself was on his side. He was wrong. In Washington, a second-term President Trump saw both a golden opportunity and an existential threat he refused to ignore any longer. In Jerusalem, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu knew the clock was ticking down to zero. The Israeli Air Force had been rehearsing this exact mission for over a decade. Then something shifted. Late 2025 into early 2026, the intelligence suddenly became crystal clear. They mapped Khamenei's exact movements. They knew the layout of his central Tehran compound better than his own guards did. The decision was locked in. Operation Epic Fury. Operation Roaring Lion. A single, coordinated decapitation strike aimed straight at the heart of the regime. But could it actually work? February 28, 2026. 9:40 a.m. Tehran time. Israeli F-35s, ghosting through the sky with American intelligence feeding them live data, reached their release points. 60 seconds. That's all it took. The primary target was neutralized. Black smoke began rising from the shattered buildings. Ayatollah Ali Khamenei and several top IRGC commanders were gone. The man who had defined Iran for nearly 40 years had vanished in a flash of precision fire. The world held its breath. March 1st, Iranian state media finally broke its silence. They confirmed the death. 40 days of mourning were declared. Black banners covered the mosques. But here's where everything flipped. Grief didn't last. Fury took over. Iran fired back with ballistic and cruise missiles slamming into Israeli industrial zones near Beersheba. Fires raged across the targets. The Houthis immediately joined the fray with fresh attacks. And then came the announcement that sent shockwaves across the region. Iran was mobilizing over 1 million combatants. Ready for war. The Strait of Hormuz, the lifeline of global oil, started to tremble. Oil prices spiked overnight. An interim leadership council rushed into place. But the real question everyone was asking, who would truly take Khamenei's seat? In the weeks that followed, the answer emerged. His own son, Mojtaba Khamenei, rose as the new supreme leader. US and Israeli strikes continued relentlessly for weeks, pounding thousands of military targets across Iran. The regime bent under the pressure, but it refused to break. Now look back at that single morning in February 2026. This wasn't just the death of one man. It was the first time in history that a sitting supreme leader of the Islamic Republic was directly assassinated by his greatest enemies. It exposed both the terrifying reach of modern precision strikes, and the surprising limits of trying to decapitate an ideological regime built for survival. Today, Mojtaba Khamenei sits in his father's chair. The missiles are still flying. The proxies are still moving in the shadows. And the entire world continues to watch the Strait of Hormuz, wondering if one more spark will finally ignite a fire no one can control. History rarely ends with a clean ending. It simply pauses, breathing, waiting. And right now, that pause may decide the fate of the entire Middle East for the rest of this century. What happens next could change everything. We will keep updating you with the latest happening, added with a touch of history documentary stories. Like, subscribe, share and turn on your notification bell so you don't miss out from our next update.